everyone. This is Dr. Ron, and I'm coming back at you with another episode of Boomer Life Lessons and Stories. I do hope this particular episode finds you well, no matter where you are or what time of day you may be viewing this. You know, we've gone through some difficult times per se this past year, and it's not been without its challenges and moments. But I would dare say that we become more acutely aware of who we are and what we are about, what's important to us. So really, that's what segues into the topic of this episode. The title of this episode is Emotional Baggage, When Does Your Treasures Become Junk? Yeah, maybe I'm getting a little too close to home, because I know that sometimes my treasures have turned into junk. And then I think, what now? What do I do? Well, if you want to hear the rest of that story, please stand by and do something for me. Please like, share, and subscribe. Okay. Now, having said all that, where am I heading with this? Well, I think that to start this discussion, we have to think about generally, as we go forward in time, and an overarching principle, we want to get ourselves in a better place in the immediate future than we were today in the present, right? And we want to do that with our family as well. So how do we do that? Well, it takes time and effort, and it takes creating a plan and all these other things that I've talked about in previous episodes. But, you know, sometimes we find out that there are things that work against us. When I say things, I'm talking about happenstance, and I'm talking about people. And when I talk about people, I may be talking about friends, family members, or acquaintances. But sometimes, whether intentional or unintentional, things do not go our way because there are other things to be considered, other people that are involved. And sometimes the fallout when other people are involved is that the things that we hold near and dear that we thought were very, very important sometimes are no longer important. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. There's this adage that we had in industry before I turned to teaching. We said to our new employees, when you come on the job, please check your baggage at the door. Now, that wasn't being harsh or anything, and we had no preconceived ideas of what their past was like and what their emotional states were with their friends and family members, none of that. We were just simply making a statement that we wanted everybody to focus on the business of the team, on the business of the company. Now, that's not to make a robot out of all of us, because we are human beings. We have our strengths and weaknesses, and we have our emotions that we have to, at times, keep in check. But when we're dealing in business, we want to be methodical, we want to be logical, we want to be clear-headed, clear-minded, and we do not want to be driven by emotion. Generally speaking, if you make decisions emotionally, they may not be the best decisions that could be made. So that's the reason for it. So when we begin to think about our lives and our engagements with others and the things about us, we try to understand, in order to understand ourselves a little better, why are they important, or what's important about them. I'll give you a little short story about ourselves and our baggage, so to speak. And I'm going to characterize the baggage in this way, that the baggage that this story is about are the things that I've gathered around me all these many years. And you can look over my shoulder. I have several thousand books, and I do enjoy a good book, and I collect books. I've gone through my life in buying new homes. I bought 7 homes, my personal homes, where I've moved from one part of the country to the next. And then I've moved within the city that I lived in a few times. But I'm sitting at the age of 64, and in my adult life, as long as I've bought a home and owned a home, I've moved 7 times. Now, where this story is heading is the last move. We bought a new home within the last 3 to 4 years. And we had my books and, of course, the vinyl collection, the record collection, and all that other stuff upstairs near my office and my study. So we hired a company, I will not call its name out, to come and move everything, because we had essentially packed everything up. And that was literally a 2-week ordeal, packing the house so that when the movers came, they could move the boxes onto the truck and then drive the truck down the road about 4 or 5 miles to our new home. Yes, we didn't move far, right? Kind of funny, though, when I think about it. The guys were there going upstairs and downstairs, a big flight of stairs up to the second level where my study and the movie room was and all that other good stuff. And they were grabbing these big, heavy boxes of books and albums. And they started out with 4 individuals. And about halfway through the morning and going up and down those stairs carrying these boxes of heavy books, I noticed that there was only 3 there. And that morning, one of the movers quit on the spot. So I thought, that's a problem. So I got with the lead of the team that was actually moving the boxes onto the truck. And I talked to him. He says, well, we got another guy coming. I said, okay. So that other guy arrived about 1 o'clock. And he proceeded to help them go up and down the stairs and move our household goods into the truck. And about 2:30, I noticed we were down to 3 people again. I thought, wow, this is going to be a problem. And I talked to the lead of the team, and he says, don't worry, we're almost finished loading it. We'll have a new guy show up at the place your new place when we start unloading. And fair enough, the truck was finally loaded, and we drove over to the new house. And I opened it up, and guess what? They started unloading the truck and carrying the boxes of books up to my new office and my library, which are 2 different rooms in the house. And lo and behold, before the 4th guy came on board, we're down 1, the second guy quit. So now we only had 2 people unloading the truck. And so I talked to the lead mover again, and I said, are you guys going to be able to finish today? Because they were supposed to come at 8 and be done at 4, right? And we're now past 4 o'clock. And he said, yes, I think we can get this done. Now, to his credit, I will say he and his main team member persevered to the end. Another guy showed up temporarily, and he was there until about 6 o'clock, and then he left. So truly, we only had 2 stable members of that move team. But they were there until about 11 o'clock at night, unloading that truck and getting our belongings and all my books and collectibles, meaning the records and things, up the stairs into the new areas. And literally, we're probably talking tonnage, not a few hundred pounds. So at the end of the day, I told the gentleman how much I really appreciated he and the person that endured to the end staying to get that truck unloaded, so that my wife and I could just kind of take a deep breath and then know we had another ordeal in front of us, and that would be unpacking and setting up house. So obviously we gave them a pretty good tip, a substantial tip for making things happen. And they were off on their merry way. And of course, we were then staring at all these boxes, a lot of them upstairs, a lot of them downstairs, scattered out through the new house with things to be unpacked. So it was at that point in time that I began to think, is all of this worth it? I mean, every time I've moved, I've carried my book collection around with me, and it's becoming increasingly problematic because the book collection, as you can see, doesn't get any smaller. It should, you would think, but it doesn't. And I started thinking that at what point does your treasures become baggage or become junk? At what point does the value of your treasures when it is superseded by the trouble it causes you. That would be in terms of dollars and emotional distress. And you can see how I tie that into emotional baggage. Because if we think of this not in terms of moving house, as the Brits would say, if we think of it in terms of our emotional state and the things that we've latched onto and we've hung on to and we refuse to let go because it's part of something we experienced, well, the question you have to ask yourself, is it adding value? Is it helping? Is this emotional baggage something that will put you in a better place? You have to come to the point to know what's important today versus what was important yesterday. And whatever that was important yesterday that's no longer important today, or maybe it's doing you harm or not helping you get to that better place, then we have to wake up and think to ourselves, it's time to let it go, right? So if it's not working to get you to that better place, then stop it, let it go. You don't have to carry it around with you if it is not adding value to your life or your family's net well-being. And as a matter of fact, carrying around that emotional baggage probably is draining you of energy and high spirit and joy. If it's stealing your joy, and I've said this a few times, then the purpose in life kind of evaporates away and you wonder to yourself, what am I doing here and why am I doing it, right? So it is very important as we look at this emotional baggage and know that our treasures in the past now have turned into junk. We must realize when it's important and when it's no longer important, and when we have it and when no longer we should have it and drag it around. We should know when to let it go. And here's an important point about that. And this is in all seriousness. Sometimes the healing cannot start until you let the emotional baggage go, until you get rid of it. Open up the door, shove it out the front door, and close the door, and put a separation and a distance between you and that emotional baggage. I don't know what might be in that emotional bag, but if you open it up and there's hard feelings towards somebody, or you feel that you didn't do well in this particular situation and you're very self-conscious about it, well, get over it. Life happens. We make mistakes. We don't do as good as we want to do. But recognize this, people grow and change, and they endeavor to do better after they've not done so well. And as long as we're all striving to do better for ourselves and our family and our community, then know this, it's not worth carrying the emotional baggage around. That emotional baggage is not a badge of honor. It's not a badge of accomplishment. You don't wear it up here showing everybody that emotional baggage. It's something that perhaps it's not shareable. It's not something you want out there. It may be something that you have hard feelings toward or someone, and they don't know it. And when you think about it, you realize that it's trivial. It's not that important. And so in order to get you to that better place, to allow the healing to start, you have to take a deep breath and settle and calm yourself. And then willfully say to yourself, I'm letting this emotional baggage go. Because you see, if you don't, you're always going to have the movers and shakers coming into your life, and then they're going to be discouraged and they're going to turn around and leave because it's going to be too much for them to handle. And you're not going to have that joyful life where you can share and enjoy the company of others because you've got this badge of honor that you think is a badge of honor. It's your emotional baggage that you lead with and not something that you put away or discarded that's keeping you from being all that you could be. So emotional baggage never helps. As a matter of fact, I like to read a lot of the thoughts of past philosophers and people of note. And Socrates once said, how can you hope to heal the body if you ignore the soul? Now, if you think about that, if you're carrying around emotional baggage, one, it's going to drain your energy. It's going to cause you not to be as healthy as you could be physically and mentally. So what do you have to do? You have to focus on releasing it so that you heal your soul. You allow yourself to get into a better place emotionally and from a stable position. And then once you do that, your body follows. Now, I'm no doctor. I'm no medical doctor, right? But I would suggest to you that there are psychosomatic effects, that when we think negative thoughts all the time, it does affect our physical health. And there's perhaps some studies you can go and look up. But I'm just saying that if you want the healing to start, whether it's both for the physical body and for the emotional state of mind, you must release and let go of that junk that once was treasure that has become emotional baggage. I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope it has opened your eyes. I know that from my personal experience, until I told myself to just let it go, the healing would not start and could not start. And when I did get to a better place, both myself and my family. And that's really, truly all that I wish for you. And with that, my friends, please know you're always on my mind, and take care until we see you next time. All the best.